Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Anecdotal Economist, and I have some really good news for collectors. Especially if you think the price of metals are going up. I got in a nice big gold order. Okay, that didn't come out the way I thought it would. That's where it comes from.
Here, pick it up, feel it, tell me what you think.
No other mint has this issue.
The triangle has replaced the British pound.
Like little trading cards.
That's a naughty word. We never rob. We just sort of borrow a bit from those who can afford it.
Okay, so like I said, good news for collectors. I gotta say, this is not advice to start collecting. I have been in the game for a long time, and I've bought many handfuls of sovereign metals, just tubes full of them, and a lot of other generic buffaloes, all those kinds of things. And eventually I just decided I wanted to try something a little bit more interesting, especially with my silver purchases. And so I did eventually start collecting. And the more I collected, the more I enjoyed it. I don't mind paying a tiny premium for it. And so it got me thinking over time, how do I look at buying collectibles like these versus just staying true and sticking to your generic bullion coins or sovereign or however you want to look at it. And as I was thinking about this the last couple of years, I've been thinking about how there's a good time to buy collectibles and a bad time. And then you got to think about when is the good time, when is the bad time. Anybody else think this way? I know a lot of collectors just buy no matter what, and that's just not me. I like to put some thought and some strategy into it. And within collectibles, I mean, there's different types as well, right? There's sort of these more modern type coins. You've got these Royal Mint, sort of sovereign collectibles, high-end collectibles. You've got your sort of numismatic style collectibles like this gold coin here that we're going to show at some point. So there's a lot of different sort of markets within markets, as I like to call it. And I just want to show you guys really quickly here some initial thoughts I've had on it. And I'm going to start diving into this deeper, but this is just like some really basic ways to break it down. So there's kind of two different markets. There's a market where gold is going down. That's a down market. And there's a market where gold's going up. So I'm really curious to see if you guys think this is what it looks like as well. I always like to hear other people's opinion as I think about this more and more. I'm going to start actually measuring premiums of different things over time, and I would like to track and kind of see how much it actually fluctuates, because it is hard to tell sometimes. But in generally speaking, if a market is going down over a long period of time, what we would see is high premiums on just generic coins, lower interest, and this is because spot price is falling, and so people need to kind of charge more premiums to make up the losses, and low interest in collectibles. People just don't tend to buy as much when the price goes down. So for example, if you're not buying as many maples, you're not as likely to buy some of these special 2-ounce Wolverines, right? They're just not selling as much silver, period. And so I think the desire for collectibles goes down during those periods. Not saying that nobody buys them, just saying that less people are buying them. Vice versa, if we look at a up market on the right-hand side, over a long period of time, I would say that you generally see lower premiums, much like what we're seeing right now, which is to say that prices have gone way up, and if you're careful, you can get some pretty good prices, pretty close to spot in a lot of cases. I think just because the base metals are going up in value. But there's a lot of interest being generated right now, and I know there are a lot of people selling, but I think that's because of economic times. If I look at the YouTube algorithms and the amount of views on some of the more popular channels, I would say there's a lot of interest in bullion right now. It's appealing to people because it's gone up. People always tend to chase prices higher in any market I've seen, at least from my experience. And so in that case, I think collectibles would potentially have a higher value. Does that make sense? Is that tracking? Let me know if you guys agree with that in the comments. What are some things that I might be missing? Now, I gotta put the caveat that if this is over a short period of time, we may not see the exact same thing. For example, if the market only goes down for, say, a month or a handful of months, people might just be buying the dip, and I just don't know if that's enough to change the general sentiment on the market. But if it's for a long time, say a year or longer than a year, well, that could definitely change the game. So that's kind of the way I'm thinking of it right now. I'm going to start tracking prices, and over time, I hope to get an empirical answer to this question. Problem is, you might need 100 years to map out all the different possibilities and all the different types of metals. You know, something like a maple versus an eagle versus like a collectible coin like a Scrooge McDuck coin, which has been on my list to get for a while, a gold Scrooge McDuck. They're all going to trade differently And who's to say all collectibles are the same, right? Who knows? Maybe Robinhood is super popular, but Little John here, that we're going to get to in a second, well, just doesn't make the cut. So there's a lot to think about with collectibles. I've started to put a little bit more energy into trying to figure it out. I'm going to build out some models, and just wanted to kind of explain what I've thought of so far. And I guess what I'm saying is, generally speaking, if the prices of metals are going up, I don't think it's a good time to be buying collectibles. Not to say that you can't buy them, and if you're only paying a small premium, well then it's probably worth it. But if you're talking about buying collectibles, I would generally say the best time would be during a down market, where prices have been going down for a little while, and premiums are maybe getting a little bit closer to reality. I think this is especially true if you're buying collectibles on the secondhand market. For example, I saw a 10-ounce Perth Year the Horse for basically spot. It was a little over spot, but not much. And that's a pretty good deal in my books. But now with prices going up again, I suspect you're not going to be able to find quite as good a deal on those. But you never know. It's hit and miss. So I just wanted to chat about this and kind of throw it out there. I know some of you probably have more experience with collectibles than me. This is kind of what I'm thinking. Am I right? Am I wrong? Thought it would be worth having a little discussion. I always like to do a coin review at the end of my videos. So today I'm doing the final Robin Hood coin, the Little John. And of course, you've got your classic Royal Mint milk spots on these. I don't know if I can continue to support the Royal Mint when they're doing such a bad job with milk spotting. But I have to tell you, this is absolutely my favorite of the Robin Hood series. And of course, Robin Hood's got to be the favorite character. But Little John was always there for him. And this guy just looks stoic. You know, he is like just rocking that, I don't know if that's a stick or what the heck, a staff, I guess that would be for fighting. The foliage is just a little bit more sharp, the bark on the tree. The detail's just a little bit deeper, I feel like, on this one. He was carrying something in his little satchel, maybe a little coin purse. I am a big, big fan of this coin. If I could only have one, this is probably the one I'd get. And ironically, this might be one of the lower mintage coins other than Maid Miriam, so maybe it'll do the best in the resale market, speaking of collectibles. Now on the back, we have the same old queen, God rest her soul, with the bedazzling. The Britannia bedazzling, as I call it. And you know, I have to tell you, it is growing on me. It doesn't look too busy on this particular coin. I think just because this front of this coin is actually less busy than a standard Britannia, which is crazy to say. But I really do like this coin, and this is the only one of the series that I don't have in a 10 ounce. And I have to tell you, I'm thinking about it because I really like it. I'm a big fan. We'll see. 10 ounces is a lot of silver these days. Prices are just hard to deal with. I got a friend that bought a bunch of silver at $5 an ounce, and man, you know, long time ago, but I wish, you know, could you imagine $5 an ounce? So guys, what did me think of this coin? I really enjoyed it, and that's really all I got to say today. This is a bit of a short one. I've got a lot of topics coming up, and so I appreciate all of my new subscribers. You guys are doing good work for me by hitting that subscribe button, so I really appreciate it. If you want to give me a like, please feel free to do that. If you don't have anything to say but you still want to support the channel with a comment, today's keyword will be Little John. And if you want to throw that in the comments, I'd appreciate it. Guys, this has been the Anecdotal Economist. That's my 2 ounces worth. Remember, I gotta figure out where I'm putting this coin. I think it's time to get rid of Sonic. He's been sitting there just a little too long. So in goes Little John, completing the Robin Hood series. We've got the full set of the Robin Hood series sitting out here. Time to put Sonic away. Sonic is not everyone's favorite coin, I know that. So we got him out of the picture, and that is it. Remember, I'm pulling for you, and we're all in this together.